That's the descriptor used by opposition leader Mark Golding in his critique of the government's budget plan for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. This as he made his contribution to the budget debate in Gordon House on Tuesday. Abigail Bartley reports.
The opposition leader chided the Holness administration for its spending and revenue plan for the new fiscal year, noting there was nothing in it to help the economy rebound in the post-Hurricane Melissa environment. According to Golding, Jamaicans face a triple threat of problems that are not being addressed by the Holness administration.
The combination of the post-Melissa hardship, the Middle East war, and the government's tax package is a toxic cocktail. Toxic. It will be bitter medicine to the Jamaican people. And Prime Minister, you need to tell the people when you speak on Thursday what your plans are for protecting the society from the impact of this Middle East war, especially those who are still struggling to get their lives back together after Melissa. That's what the people want to hear from you.
Golding says the government's budget plans appear blind to the real situation facing struggling Jamaicans.
What are we to expect from the budget for the coming 26-27 fiscal year? Despite the massive hit to our economy and the growing despair and anger that many thousands of Jamaicans feel who really need help, the budget for the coming year allocates a contingency of $30 billion Jamaican for capital expenditure on recovery from Hurricane Melissa. That is less than 1% of GDP. The budget also brings a tax package of $18 billion at a time when the economy is reeling from Melissa and the war in the Middle East is threatening to drive up the cost of living. This is not a budget to drive economic recovery.
When she opened the budget debate on March 10, the Finance Minister Favour Williams said the government considered the ongoing conflict in the Middle East and its implications for both fiscal and economic planning. Mark Golding says the situation is now far more grim than when the finance minister spoke.
This could not come at a worse time because the war in the Middle East is driving up oil and gas prices. It is going to include fertilizers, it's going to include plastics that are used in manufacturing, and so many other things, because in that area, the Persian Gulf, natural gas production is being shut down, oil and gas can't escape, and it is part of the whole supply chain, food production of the world and the manufacturing production of the world. Petrochemicals are a critical ingredient in fertilizers and in pharmaceutical drugs and so many other things. So we're really looking at a dread situation.
Abigail Bartley for Nationwide News.
And the opposition leader says a PNP government would introduce a multi-year tax exemption initiative for new local businesses. He adds that those businesses would also benefit from a waiving of other costs.
Even government programs for MSME support that are announced and funded year after year have failed to have the desired impact. Their design failed to take the limited capacity of MSMEs into account. And so we don't have transformation. We don't have transition to a better economy. You must lower these costs and remove these barriers. That's your job. We would offer a 3-year tax holiday for businesses once they formalize their operation. We would provide discounted government registration, permit, and licensing fees for doing business throughout the same period for new businesses coming into the fold.
Golding says under the PNP, micro, small, and medium enterprises would also benefit from 15% of government contracts.
This government, and every government, spends billions of dollars annually on goods and services. Small businesses should get their share. The law to allow this has been in place since 2019. We modernized the procurement system with the Public Procurement Act. Regulations took a long time to come after it. 2019 they came. Nothing has been done to make it happen. 7 years later, you're saying you want to do it now. Well, let's see. This cannot be just mere talk and more of the same. You should be proactive in pushing these arrangements to favor MSMEs. Earmark 15% of government contracts to MSMEs. Actively monitor that target to ensure that it happens.
Opposition leader Mark Golding.
Opposition leader Mark Golding says the government should consider removing general consumption tax GCT on water. He made the comment as he criticized the government's imposition of a special consumption tax SCT on non-alcoholic sugary drinks. The opposition leader used 2 bottles of water as visual props as he made his point.
2 of these bottles of water make 1 liter and cost $200. A liter of gas at the pump is $185. Water costs more than gas in Jamaica. If we really want to encourage healthy consumption, then remove the GCT from water and other healthy alternatives so that the people can afford to buy them.
The SCT on non-alcoholic sugary drinks is set to earn the government $10 billion in revenue. The government says the move will also have the effect of reducing the consumption of sugar among the population. Golding says the design of the tax is flawed.
Neither of the taxes on sweetened beverages or the environmental protection levy, neither of them is designed in a way which will improve public health or support environmental causes. Neither of them. The tax on sweetened drinks is imposed on the volume of liquid in the container, not on the amount of sugar in the liquid in the container. And therefore, it provides no incentive for beverage manufacturers to reduce sugar content. Furthermore, the mere fact that the government intends to collect this tax, which is how it's funding its budget, shows that it intends for the beverages to be purchased anyway, so as to generate the tax.
Mark Golding, opposition leader.
Meanwhile, the opposition leader is criticizing Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness for accepting his salary increase immediately after the JLP won the general election on September 3, 2025.
During the last general election in 2025, in the campaign, with its manifestos and its debates and its platform speeches, the Prime Minister did not even hint at, much less disclose, his intention to take the massive salary increase that he claimed he had given up when the heat reached him. Not a peep out of him in the election campaign. Can you imagine that in February this year, we suddenly learned that effective from payday last September 2025, right after the election, the Prime Minister would be receiving his big salary after all?
In May 2023, Holness declined to accept the adjusted compensation package following fierce public backlash against the salary increases granted to the political directorate. But a release from the Office of the Prime Minister, OPM, last month revealed that Dr. Holness had begun accepting the full salary of $28.5 million. OPM noted that the decision to accept the full salary was taken last year after the new administration was in place. But it says the implementation was delayed due to the impact of Hurricane Melissa. Parliament was subsequently advised to effect the change retroactive to September 2025. Golding described the move as deceptive.
That is the latest chop. That is a real grand move. It was a shameful deception, not worthy of the high office that you hold.
Mark Golding, opposition leader.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Donald Trump says the U.S. does not need NATO after being buffed by a number of the organization's member countries over his appeal for a multinational naval force to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, the key trade route closed by Iran. The Guardian reporting that Trump told reporters at the Oval Office that those allies who rejected his call were making a foolish mistake. Trump says he thought Europe would have sent minesweepers to assist with the operation in the strait, adding that while it was not a big deal, it was unfair to the United States. Trump again voiced disappointment with British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, saying the U.S. relationship with the UK was good before Starmer took office. Starmer is adamant that while the UK will defend itself and its allies, it will not be drawn into a wider war.
The BBC is reporting that rescue teams are continuing to pull bodies from the smoking rubble of a drug rehabilitation center in the Afghan capital, Kabul, which was hit on Monday night in a devastating Pakistani airstrike. The attack on the Omen Addiction Treatment Hospital is the deadliest in recent violence between Pakistan and Afghanistan. The strike happened as the residents broke their daily fast for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. The death toll has continued to rise, and the Taliban government says it believes the number of people killed is about 400. Many people were also injured.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, opposition leader Mark Golding says the Holness administration is preparing to administer bitter medicine to Jamaicans as he criticized the budget for the new fiscal year.
The combination of the post-Melissa hardship, the Middle East war, and the government's tax package is a toxic cocktail. It will be bitter medicine to the Jamaican people.
The opposition leader also lashed the Prime Minister for being deceptive about his acceptance of his salary increase.
That is the latest chop. That is a real brogad move. It was a shameful deception.
Opposition leader Mark Golding.